It's the country everyone thinks they know. Chocolate, watches, mountains, banks, neutrality. The postcard images we've all seen 1,000 times. And yet beneath that polished surface lies something far stranger and far more profound than most people ever realize. This is a country barely larger than the Netherlands, yet it holds 4 distinct languages, 3 climate zones, and some of the most extreme geography in Europe packed into a space you could cross by train in 4 hours. A country that has not fought a war in over 2 centuries, yet every adult male keeps a military rifle in their home by law. A country built on precision and order, yet shaped entirely by chaos, by violent tectonic forces that folded the earth into towers of stone, by glaciers that carved valleys so deep they seemed to belong to another planet. This is Switzerland, not the Switzerland of clichés and souvenirs, but the Switzerland of paradoxes, where impossible engineering meets untamed nature, where 4 cultures share a single passport, and where every tunnel, every bridge, every train that arrives exactly on time is an argument against the idea that small countries cannot do extraordinary things. So forget what you think you know, and step into a place where the sublime and the precise are not opposites, but partners. The Alps, a collision made vertical. The Alps are not mountains in the way most mountains are mountains. They are not the result of slow erosion or quiet volcanic activity. They are the result of a collision, violent, ongoing, and geologically recent. Around 65 million years ago, the African tectonic plate began pushing northward into the European plate. The collision was not quick. It was not clean, but it was relentless. Layer upon layer of ancient seabed was compressed, folded, shattered, and thrust upward, creating a wall of rock that now stretches across 8 countries and defines the entire character of Central Europe. Switzerland sits at the heart of this collision. Roughly 60% of the country is mountainous. The Alps dominate the southern 2/3. The Jura Mountains rise along the northwest, and between them lies the Swiss Plateau, a narrow strip of relatively flat land where most of the population lives, farms, and builds cities. The highest peak entirely within Switzerland is the Dom at 4,545 meters, but Switzerland shares the Matterhorn with Italy, one of the most iconic and most dangerous mountains on Earth. Its pyramid shape is so geometrically perfect, it looks artificial. Climbers have died on its faces for over 150 years, and yet, every summer, hundreds still attempt the ascent. What makes the Swiss Alps extraordinary is not just their height, it is their density. Peaks, ridges, glaciers, valleys, and gorges are packed so tightly together that the landscape never settles. Every turn reveals something new: a hanging valley, a frozen waterfall, a meadow so green it seems painted. The Alps are still rising, slowly, about 1 millimeter per year. The collision is not over. The earth beneath Switzerland is still being pushed, folded, and rebuilt. And the mountains, indifferent and patient, continue their slow climb toward the sky. The glaciers, rivers of ice in retreat. If the Alps are the skeleton of Switzerland, the glaciers are its lifeblood, or rather, they were. At the peak of the last ice age, around 20,000 years ago, Switzerland was almost entirely buried beneath ice sheets over 1 kilometer thick. As the climate warmed, these massive glaciers retreated, carving the U-shaped valleys, deep lakes, and sheer cliffs that define Switzerland's landscape today. The Aletsch Glacier is the largest glacier in the Alps, stretching over 23 kilometers in length and containing an estimated 15 billion tons of ice. From above, it looks like a frozen river, flowing in impossibly slow motion, down from the high peaks of the Bernese Alps. Its surface is a chaotic maze of crevasses, ice towers called seracs, and meltwater streams that glow electric blue under the summer sun. Walking on the Aletsch is a humbling experience. The ice beneath your feet is hundreds of years old. Some of it fell as snow before your great-grandparents were born. It compacted, layer by layer, until the weight turned it into solid ice. And now it moves, slowly, silently, downhill under its own mass, reshaping the valley below. But the Aletsch, like nearly every glacier in Switzerland, is shrinking. Since 1850, Swiss glaciers have lost more than half their total volume. The Aletsch alone has retreated over 3 kilometers in the last century. By the end of this century, many scientists predict that most of Switzerland's smaller glaciers will be gone entirely. What remains will not just be a loss of ice, it will be a loss of water. Glaciers act as natural reservoirs, storing snow in winter and releasing meltwater in summer, feeding rivers, lakes, and hydroelectric plants that power much of the country. Their disappearance will reshape not only Switzerland's geography, but its entire relationship with water and energy. The glaciers are still here, but they are leaving, and Switzerland is watching them go. The trains, engineering as national identity Switzerland, is not a country built for trains. It is a country that built itself around them. With over 5,000 kilometers of track crisscrossing mountains, valleys, and lakes, Switzerland has one of the densest and most punctual rail networks on Earth. Trains here do not simply connect cities. They are the infrastructure that makes the country possible. The Gotthard Base Tunnel, opened in 2016, is the longest and deepest railway tunnel in the world. It runs 57 kilometers beneath the Alps, cutting through solid rock at depths of over 2,300 meters below the surface. It took 17 years to build. It cost over 12 billion Swiss francs, and it reduced the travel time between Zurich and Milan by an hour. But the Gotthard is not just a tunnel, it is a statement, a declaration that Switzerland, a landlocked mountainous country with no coastline and no natural borders, wouldn't be defined by geography. It would master it. The Glacier Express is perhaps the most famous train ride in the world. It runs from Zermatt to St. Moritz, an 8-hour journey across 291 bridges and through 91 tunnels, climbing to heights of over 2,000 meters. Passengers sit in panoramic windows, watching the Alps unfold in slow motion. Glaciers, gorges, villages perched impossibly on cliffsides. The train moves at an average speed of just 36 kilometers per hour. It is not designed for efficiency. It is designed for awe. Swiss trains arrive on time. This is not a stereotype. It is measurable fact. In 2022, 92.5% of Swiss trains arrived within 3 minutes of their scheduled time. Delays are rare. Apologies are immediate. The system runs with a kind of mechanical grace that feels less like transportation and more like a national philosophy made physical. To ride a Swiss train is to understand what a country can achieve when it decides that infrastructure is not expense, but identity. The lakes, mirrors carved by Ice Switzerland, has over 1,500 lakes. Some are small mountain tarns, barely 100 meters wide. Others are vast bodies of water shared with neighboring countries. Lake Geneva, Lac Léman, is the largest. Crescent-shaped and impossibly blue, it sits on the border between Switzerland and France, cradled between the Alps and the Jura Mountains. On clear days, the reflection of Mont Blanc shimmers on its surface. The city of Geneva sits at its western tip, global, cosmopolitan, and expensive. But travel east along the shore to Montreux or Vevey, and the landscape softens. Vineyards cascade down hillsides. Belle Époque hotels overlook the water. The air smells of flowers and old stone. Lake Lucerne is Switzerland's heart. Shaped like a broken cross, it cuts deep into the mountains. Its dark blue water surrounded on all sides by steep peaks and dense forests. The city of Lucerne sits at its northern edge, its covered chapel bridge stretching across the Reuss River like something out of a medieval fairy tale. Tourists arrive in waves, but the lake itself remains indifferent, cold, deep, and utterly still. Lake Brienz, just to the east, is turquoise, not the pale blue of tropical waters, but a vivid, almost unnatural turquoise caused by glacial flour, fine particles of rock ground to powder by glaciers and suspended in the water. The color is so intense it looks artificial. Stand at its edge and the light reflecting off the surface makes the surrounding mountains glow. These lakes were not carved by rivers. They were gouged out by glaciers during the last ice age, massive tongues of ice that scraped the valleys into deep basins. When the ice retreated, the basins filled with meltwater. What remains are lakes so deep, so cold, and so clear that they feel less like water and more like windows into something older. Switzerland's lakes are not decoration, they are reservoirs, transportation routes, sources of drinking water, and anchors of local identity. Every lakeside town claims its lake as part of its soul, and they are not wrong. The village's impossible beauty, built to last Switzerland, is full of villages that should not exist, built on slopes too steep to farm, perched on cliff sides with no flat ground, reached only by cable car or footpath, and yet they endure, some for over 700 years. Grindelwald sits at the base of the Eiger's infamous north face, one of the deadliest climbs in mountaineering. The village itself is postcard perfect. Wooden chalets with flower boxes, church spires, green meadows dotted with grazing cows. But look up and the landscape turns brutal. Sheer rock walls, glaciers hanging in mid-collapse, avalanche paths scarred into the mountainside. Zermatt is a village without cars. No private vehicles are allowed inside the town limits, only electric taxis and horse-drawn carriages. It sits directly beneath the Matterhorn, which looms over the valley like a judge. Tourism drives everything here: hotels, ski resorts, guided climbs, and yet, beneath the commercialism, Zermatt retains a kind of alpine dignity. The old wooden granaries still stand on stone pillars. The church bells still ring at dawn, and when the last tourist leaves in the evening, the mountain reclaims its silence. Gimmelwald is a village that refuses to modernize. No roads reach it, only a cable car. No hotels accept credit cards. The population hovers around 100 people. Cows outnumber residents. In summer, the meadows are so green they seem to vibrate. In winter, snow buries everything except the chimney smoke rising from old wooden houses. Walking through these villages, you realize something. They were not built for beauty. They were built for survival. The steep roofs shed snow. The stone foundations resist avalanches. The south-facing slopes catch maximum sunlight. Every design choice was dictated by necessity. But necessity, over centuries, produced something achingly beautiful. Swiss villages do not try to impress. They simply endure. And in that endurance lies their power. Neutrality, the expensive kind of peace. Switzerland has not fought a war since 1815. This is not luck, it is policy, and it is expensive. Swiss neutrality is not passive, it is armed. Every adult male is required to complete military service. After service, they keep their rifle at home, a policy that has made Switzerland one of the most heavily armed civilian populations on Earth. The logic is simple. A country that can defend itself does not need to ask for help. And a country that doesn't ask for help does not owe favors. During both world wars, Switzerland remained neutral, but neutrality did not mean isolation. It meant walking a tightrope. Swiss banks held gold from both sides. Swiss factories supplied both sides, and Swiss tunnels and rail lines were strategically vital to both sides, so vital that no one dared invade. The Swiss built their entire country into a fortress. During the Cold War, they constructed thousands of bunkers, hidden in mountains, beneath homes, inside barns. Bridges and tunnels were rigged with explosives, ready to be destroyed if an invasion came. Entire valleys could be sealed off. The military strategy was called the National Redoubt. If attacked, retreat into the Alps and make conquest so costly that no enemy would pursue it. Today, Switzerland still maintains compulsory military service. Reservists still train regularly. The bunkers are still there, many now converted into museums, wine cellars, or data centers. But the principle remains. Peace is not a gift. It is a decision, backed by the willingness to defend it. Neutrality is Switzerland's brand, but it is also its burden. Every international conflict raises the same question. Should Switzerland act, or should it remain silent? There is no easy answer, only choices and consequences and the weight of a promise made 2 centuries ago. Cheese, chocolate, and the cult of quality. Switzerland is famous for 2 foods, cheese and chocolate. But what makes them famous is not taste alone. It is obsession, an almost fanatical commitment to doing one thing perfectly. Swiss cheese is not just food, it is identity. There are over 450 varieties of cheese produced in Switzerland, each tied to a specific valley, altitude, or tradition. Gruyère comes from the town of Gruyère. Emmental, the cheese with the holes, comes from the Emmental Valley. Appenzeller is rubbed with a secret herbal brine recipe passed down through generations. The process is slow. Traditional Swiss cheese is made in alpine dairies where cows graze on high-altitude meadows filled with wildflowers. The milk tastes different depending on what the cows eat. The cheese ages for months, sometimes years, in cool, dark cellars. Every wheel is turned by hand. Every rind is inspected. The result is cheese so complex in flavor that sommeliers pair it with wine the way they would pair wine with food. Swiss chocolate is a relatively recent invention. Milk chocolate as we know it was created in Switzerland in 1875 by Daniel Peter, who figured out how to blend cocoa with condensed milk without the mixture separating. Before that, chocolate was bitter and grainy. Peter's invention changed everything. Today, Switzerland consumes more chocolate per capita than any other country, roughly 11 kilograms per person per year. But the Swiss do not just eat chocolate, they engineer it. Swiss chocolate is smoother, creamier, and more refined than almost any other chocolate in the world. This is not accident. It is the result of a process called conching, invented by Swiss chocolatier Rodolphe Lindt in 1879, which grinds chocolate for hours until every particle is microscopically smooth. Cheese and chocolate are not just Swiss exports, they are proof of a philosophy. If you are going to do something, do it with precision. Do it slowly. Do it until it cannot be improved. And then protect it fiercely. 4 languages, 1 country, the invisible border. Switzerland is not 1 country. It is 4 countries pretending to be 1. The majority speaks German, or rather Swiss German, a dialect so distinct that even Germans struggle to understand it. French is spoken in the west, around Geneva and Lausanne. Italian dominates the southern canton of Ticino, and Romansh, a language older than Switzerland itself, spoken by fewer than 40,000 people, survives in isolated valleys of the Grisons. There is no single Swiss culture. There are four. No national language, four official ones. No unified identity, only a shared agreement to remain separate together. The Röstigraben, the rusty ditch, is the invisible line separating German-speaking and French-speaking Switzerland. It is named after a potato dish popular in the German-speaking part. Cross the line and everything changes. The architecture, the food, the politics, even the way people vote in referendums shifts dramatically from one side to the other. And yet, somehow, this fragmented country works. It works because Switzerland is not built on unity. It is built on compromise. Every major decision requires balancing the interests of different language groups, different cantons, different religions. Nothing happens quickly. Nothing happens easily. But when it happens, it lasts. Switzerland's greatest strength is not what it shares. It is what it has learned to live with. 4 languages, 26 cantons, hundreds of local identities, and a quiet, stubborn insistence that difference is not division. Switzerland is not what it seems. It is not the country of clichés and postcards. It is a country of contradictions. A country that chose precision in the middle of chaos, that built tunnels through mountains that should have stopped them, that turned neutrality into a fortress and diversity into strength. It is a place where 4 cultures, 4 languages, and 4 ways of seeing the world exist side by side, not because they are forced to, but because they have chosen to. The Alps are still rising. The glaciers are still retreating, the trains still arrive on time, and the country somehow endures. Switzerland does not demand your attention, it earns it. Quietly, precisely, 1 tunnel, 1 train, 1 summit at a time. If this journey surprised you, please like this video, subscribe to Wide Earth, and leave a comment below. Every response helps us keep uncovering the stories that lie beneath the surface. Thank you for traveling with us, and we will see you in the next destination.